All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So here's your injury report. Will not practice: Christian Benford, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd is ill. And then limited will be Balen Spector, A.J. Klein, and then TB, Terrell Bernard is still in the concussion protocol.
Sean, what's your sense on Micah?
We'll see, yeah. Just taking one day at a time here.
Yeah.
Is Bernard in the limited group?
He's
or is he
limited group with concussion protocol.
What is Jordan Poyer's injury?
His leg got kicked in the leg, I think, early in the game there. So
First four you mentioned, those are day-to-day injuries?
Bernard, sure.
Benford, Hyde, Poyer, and then Floyd, you said was illness?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Sean, what were your impressions of Linval Joseph after one game when you watched it or watched it back?
I think to come off the street and, not having been playing up to that point in time, he came in and did a nice job. First of all, conditioning-wise. Secondly, just point of attack defense and things like that. He did a nice job.
I think it was 30 snaps. Was that more than you might have anticipated?
Might have been. But again, Coach Washington was monitoring him as he went, and a year ago he did something similar, not maybe to that high of a rep count, but came off the street, the proverbial street, and went in and played right away in the first week, I believe it was, if my message is right and my facts are straight, and played more reps than you think a guy would, especially at that position.
I'm sorry, just one other one. Will Josh practice today?
Yes.
Sean, it seems like Tyrel Dodson, for what he brings to the table, has been giving you, a heck of a performance the last couple of weeks. Is that something that stuck out to you? And if so, how impressed are you with the way he's been ready to take advantage of an opportunity after kind of a rough preseason?
Well, here's a guy that was undrafted years ago, and has been through the journey of an NFL career, and really proud of him and how he stuck with it, stayed mentally tough through the highs, through the lows, and here he is in a starting role basically for us, and super proud of the way he's handled things, and I'm seeing a continual uptick in his play and his energy and his confidence.
What do you make of a Broncos team that's rested and starting to show signs of gelling under Sean?
Yeah, Sean does he is who he is for a reason. He's done a phenomenal job, a ton of respect. We've gone against each other numerous times, countless times in the NFC South for years, and we've had our battles, and he's just a phenomenal head coach, leader, and really smart when you get a chance to get around him and talk with him. And so I'm not surprised that they're playing the way that they are, beating the Chiefs, and then just watching their team come together the way it has.
What do you think they've done better since, basically they lose 70-20 to Miami? What have you seen from them since then?
Yeah, again, this isn't on the outside, but it just seems like they're coming together defensively. They're holding people to fewer and fewer points, obviously since that game, and it seems like they're coming into their own just overall as a team, and I think that starts with the head coach.
Pass rush recently, you blitzed kind of frequently against the Bengals, but do you need more from the four-man group? Because early in the year you were getting plenty. Seems like that's tailed off a little bit. Any thoughts on that?
I saw flashes the other night. As you know, it's important that we get it, and it's important that it's consistent. And I saw flashes the other night, and I think it's there, and it's getting back into a more consistent rhythm, and then just everyone being connected to the plan, right? There was times we were there and the quarterback got out, and so you miss those opportunities where we had a good rush or two, and so it's just more of that rush. Staying connected to the plan overall, and then the coverage complementing the rush too, because there were times when the rush or the coverage didn't give the rush those opportunities to capitalize and close it out there. So, but confident in those guys, and they've proven it early in the year that they can do it. So we're looking forward to just cutting it loose.
Would you say Greg's foot injury has limited his impact in the last month or so?
Well, I think he's getting better. You may be accurate to some extent a few weeks ago. And listen, anytime you're coming off an injury, and it's not easy. You're not yourself, and so you're dealing with it not only physically but mentally. And I saw some things this past game that I thought were, hey, he's starting to really get back into who he is.
When it comes to the pass rush and knowing what Von's gone through, how much closer is he getting to being Von Miller, as you've seen on tape, and how much do you need him to effectively step up without knowing what he's gone through?
Yeah, well, I mean, Von Miller is Von Miller. His resume speaks for itself. Like any human being, he's coming off of an ACL, as I've said multiple times. And if you want a real medical analysis on where he is, you can talk to our trainer. But in my sense, there's nobody that's working harder to get himself, and it's not easy, right? So, but he is mentally elite in his approach, and whether it was before he got hurt or now, he's an incredible, mentally tough, not only person but athlete.
Sean, the way you emphasized ACL, Sean, and that is, in all your experience, and you think of Trey White and what it took for him to get back, the nature of that injury and what that process is. Does Von's situation maybe fall in line with others that you've seen through the years and dealt with as a coach?
I mean, there's no two that are exactly overlap, but they're somewhat similar, right? And it takes time. So that's really where we're at, and but I think each week you're seeing a tick up in the health, I'll call it, and with that, more of becoming a factor, and that'll come. I'm confident in that.
Going back to Greg, it seems like the last couple of years he's been an ascending player for you, but then he's had an injury that has maybe impacted that in some ways. Where do you feel like he's at mentally dealing with that challenge in, the physical side of it, maybe not allowing him to do everything that he wants to be doing for you guys?
Right. I mean, that's. I just think, generally speaking, Jay, that's the cycle of a season, right? You're going to have some days and weeks and sometimes stretches of a month where you're feeling pretty good. You're not too banged up, and you're flowing. And then you're going to have some where you feel like you can't avoid it because one nick leads to another bump or bruise, and then just you kind of can't avoid it. And so that's just all in terms of generally speaking, a young player is learning how to deal with injuries and how to play through them. And then there is a balance of, hey, medically he's out there, but for any player, what's the level of performance going to look like? Whereas the next player who's inactive, say, are they better because they're healthier in this case? So, but it's like anything else. You try and make the best decision for the team and put people out there that can perform at that level. We need them to, and I applaud Greg. He's been pushing through, and we're banged up on defense in particular, and so guys are like they did the other night. Guys are they're playing hard and they're giving it max effort, and I applaud them for it.
Sorry. What do you make of your team's difficulty generating turnovers, and as a coach, how do you address something like that?
Well, number one, you get what you emphasize. I think that's a coaching one-liner, I guess you'd say, for us coaches, that you get what you emphasize, and so, or you hope you do at least, right? So, we have to make sure we're continuing to emphasize taking the ball away, and then some of that comes with punching the ball out. Some of that comes with getting around the ball. Some of that comes with affecting the quarterback and those sack fumbles that you're looking for, or affecting the quarterback so it's an errant throw. And that's when you study takeaways. That's usually how they don't usually just fall out of the sky or the arms of a runner. And it comes from effort as well as getting around the football. And no different the other night when we put the ball on the ground in the red zone and with Dalton's situation, and they outworked us, and they got there before we did, and so that's a point of emphasis as well.
Dane Jackson, what did you think of his game in Cincinnati?
I thought he played well. I really did. We talk about making plays on the ball, taking the ball away, and that's important. It's one thing to be in position; it's another thing to make the play, and I was impressed and real proud of Dane and the way he did that Sunday night.
Quarterbacks get a lot of scrutiny when they throw interceptions. Just how do you balance, emphasizing that with Josh, but also wanting him to play free and, aggressive?
Yeah, I mean, no interception is a good interception, but there are some, take this in context, of some that are either better than others or worse than others. And so, yeah, I mean, some of them are great plays by defense, and then there are other ones where that ball shouldn't have been thrown. And so he's learning the difference, and he knows which ones are not a good decision. And then there are other ones where it's, hey, okay, that guy made a great play. And so that's life at the highest levels in professional sports, because they're going to make some good plays once in a while. But as long as the decision is the right decision, we're heading in the right direction.
You mentioned on Sunday about receivers just not looking like they were open a lot of times. Throughout the week, as you've evaluated that, did that hold up watching it back? And what's your message to that group? Do you send a message to that group improving in that area, maybe something?
I don't think it's. I mean, listen, there's always things we can do better from a technique standpoint. But at the end of the day, we've got to make sure that whether it's execution or the detail that leads to execution of the route concept or the route concept to begin with, that and that's what we do as coaches. We go back and reevaluate. Are we putting them in the position? And it's never one thing. It's always a little bit shared. And so I think that to me is where the progression starts. Of, hey, are we putting them in the right position? Are they executing their assignments with great detail? And then do we have the ability to separate? Do we have the ability to get open? Those are the steps you go through.
How have you observed the relationship between that group and Adam Henry in his first season?
I think, Adam's come right in and done a nice job. He's a pro, and I think the guys respect him. I know they do, and he's been around football a long time, and I think he's done a nice job with the guys building that relationship.
Was Rasul a pretty quick study? I mean, I know trial by fire, especially with the injuries that you guys went through, but does it feel like he was able to pick up what he needed to, and then that could kind of continue to build as we get a little bit further away?
Yeah, I would say the same with LJ. I think maybe Sal and Mark asked it earlier. Same thing. I mean, both football minds. The game makes sense to them. So when you're equipped that way, it's an easier challenge on the front end to pick up the system.
You've not been 5-4 since 2018, and that was a different season.
Since when?
2018, that was a different season. And how do you assess where you are right now, knowing that you're running out of margin for error?
Yeah, confident in our team, confident in our coaches, confident in our players, confident in our staff. Doesn't mean we don't have work to do. Doesn't mean we don't have a gap to close. And there's different things that make up that gap. And so we've got to continue to drill down on those areas and play better as an overall team, complementary-wise, and reset some things that we need to reset. You go back and reteach certain things or reestablish certain things this time of year when you're going through things. Even when you're not going through things, it's the right thing to do. And so, but my confidence remains high in our group.
Sean, kind of along those lines, I mean, you've got your finger on the pulse of this thing in that locker room. The schedule gave you an extra day, maybe for them to rest and decompress a little bit, which is always a good thing with a late bye. So as you talk to the players and get them back in, they know what's at stake, I'm sure. What's your sense of kind of where they stand in their approach?
Yeah, I think like all of us, you're saying, hey, okay, what can I do? What can I do better? What can I do to help someone else? Some of the guys who have been here before and been through maybe 7 and 6 a few years ago, and what I've learned just being around the NFL is even being 14 and whatever we were, 14-0 years ago, and going to the Super Bowl is every year it seems like you're banging your head against the wall. Every year is hard, and you come out of it and you're saying, hey, dang it, we were pretty good. And we learned some lessons all the way through it. So it's never easy, but the belief is important. And I feel like these guys know what's ahead of us, but they also know we got to take it one game at a time. And I think they're ready for the challenge, and I know they're ready for the challenge, and that's what the Buffalo Bills do.
Sean, just with this team, we've heard the receivers talk about wanting to play fast, playing free, feeling comfortable with that. How do you help kind of facilitate getting them to that place?
The wide receivers, Jenny said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think for our entire football team, that's a part of it, right? It's just going. We're very, I would say, detailed in our approach. I think we take a lot of pride in that, but at the same time, there's an element of just go, right? Whether you're rushing the passer, whether you're playing wide receiver in this case, and there's going to be mistakes along the way, but nobody's perfect, and we all want to aim for that. That's the goal every week. But the truth is that the freer you play, the more your athleticism comes out, and the more your personality shows, and I think that's a good thing.